The one way that you can actually like figure out what is going on with like pain when you're drumming is to intentionally squeeze hard with different fingers. If you go thumb to index finger, thumb to middle, ring, pinky, etc., and see which one of those causes pain in the wrist. When you find the finger that is causing the most pain, then you can go, oh, I need to relax my middle and thumb, or it might be multiple fingers, etc. You felt it when you squeeze your thumb and index finger? So then that is where you want to focus when you're actually practicing is how can I provide more support with the other fingers and less tension with the index finger or the thumb in particular. Once you identify which fingers it is, then you got to figure out, well, what is the source of the pain? Is it when you're playing slow? Are you playing too powerful? Is it when you're playing too fast, etc.? And then ideally slow things down and refine the technique. If you're doing rudimental percussion and you're doing 50 perfect flams, you're going to want to make it so that you can control open, closed, and flat flams. So open would be doing like 50 of these in a row. So it's the same gada, 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 gada. You're just dropping in that grace note in there. And then 50 where you are able to control it so that it is the normal ch sound. And be able to play 50 in a row without having one that raises or gets too far away. And then 50 of doing a flat flam, where it hits at the same time and you get that pop sound. Being able to control this grace note so that it's always at the same height, just dropping it in or placing it in there, and you can change how far away it is from the primary note in terms of timing-wise, making it so that you can go from flat pop sounds to like a full rhythmic change, etc. If you do like single strokes, you can play it on like your leg. You can play it on your forearms. This will hurt. You can do it traditional if you do it this way. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. There's all sorts of things that you can do to kind of make the surface softer, or you could put a towel on here. So that's something that I've demonstrated in some other streams where I'll like show how to play quiet, but the more resistance you have, the more it like forces you kind of like use your muscles. So it starts off normal, and then you fill in, and then you go to triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Second pattern. Triplet version. Third pattern. Fourth pattern. Last pattern, inverted roll. There's a few hundred grid variations on my website, but whenever you're playing these at like 20 beats a minute, it takes you about 3 minutes just to get through one variation of this, or one rep of it. But when you're doing it, you want to make sure you are not squeezing hard and forcing in those accents when you're doing this. You want to practice it as if you were playing it fast. So when you play fast, you want to have a nice, relaxed, light touch. Otherwise, if you're trying to force in all the notes, you're just going to squeeze up and it's going to slow you down. So even though you're playing this at 20 beats a minute, it takes 3 minutes to get through what you just see on the screen right here. It's extremely important to stay nice and relaxed, nice and light with your touch. Do not force these in and just pull it back. Let the gravity do the work for you. When you start off playing slow and you start to get faster and faster, there's going to be this middle area, this gray area that's going to sound not so great. And that's when you have a technique shift where your hands are like, wait, do I use finger? Do I use wrist? Do I use a little bit of forearm, etc.? And so in that technique shift, that's an area where you sit and you go, okay, I need to slow this down and only go by one click at a time and really fine tune that specific gray area before you move on to the faster tempi, which is plural for tempo. Fun fact. Now, you notice today's stream, I'm just chopping out, just having fun with it. It's okay to do that every now and then, and key thing is every now and then. You need to focus on technique and refining stuff if you want to actually improve. If you just want to have fun playing, then by all means do that. Play fun stuff, but you're not necessarily going to get any better if that's all you do. So you really got to sit and focus on the things that you want to improve on for the majority of your practice sessions. And every now and then, like today, just have fun, just chopping out or whatever it is that you're working on. Just make sure if you want to improve, that's not all you do, or you won't improve. My first year I ever marched snare, I auditioned for Blue Devils. Why? Because I thought it would be a good experience so I could learn from it and then be better prepared for when I was actually good enough. Scott Johnson and Sean Vega were in the room when I did like my little audition thing, and they were very polite. I clearly was not good enough, but they motivated me to keep at it. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Slow, fast, slow. Starts at 40 beats a minute. It goes up to whatever tempo you want it to go up to, and then it slows back down to 40 beats per minute, and it does this one click at a time. So if you go into the timestamps in here, so like let's say you wanted to max out at 150. So if you click on this, it starts at 40, and then you could just sit here and do a roll, like starting at 40, and then it's gonna start going faster and faster and faster and faster. It'll go up to 150. You'll hold it there, and then it'll slow back down all the way back down to 40 again. So this takes several minutes, but it's a great way to just sit there and work on like your diddles or a rudiment or whatever. Can I recommend drumsticks for the study of snare drum? Marching snare. I personally use hardiments, and I like to double tape them, so it gives them a little bit more weight. But for all of these streams that I am doing, I'm using hardiment hammers. And so these are extra heavy sticks, and they're double taped, so they are about 44% heavier than the sticks that I was picking up. So all these like practice sessions where it shows like myself like just like practicing, I'm always using these heavy sticks because it helps work on chops. So hardiment hammers for working on your chops. Hardiment if you're doing rudimental sticks. I like the barrel tip. They're nice. I used to play with Scott Johnson sticks, and I also used to play with Tom Float sticks, which are the ones that are up there. Yeah, I switched over to hardiments, and I definitely prefer them. One of the reasons why I like to chop out at the end of my practice sessions as opposed to like at the beginning is because, one, I want to make sure that my hands are in the best state when I'm working on technique and whatnot. But two, after spending like 80% of my time just focusing on something slow, really refining the technique, I want to end with something fun so that way I remember, oh yeah, I had fun practicing, as opposed to, oh yeah, I sat there and played something at 40 for like 40 minutes straight. That's not super exciting, but that's, you know, the grind. But if you finish with something like chug and you go as fast as you possibly can at the end, then you will end with something fun and you'll be like, yeah, I enjoyed practicing. It was great the entire time, even though it wasn't. My right arm is like, yeah, you can stop that now. Nope, going faster. So if you want to be able to play through any of the 1,200 hours and several hundred play-alongs that are available on my website, just go to jaredoleary.com. It'll keep you busy for quite some time.